from within. BFF, we rise above, stronger together, we shine with love. Faith unshaken, hearts on fire, fearless souls, we're reaching high.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BFF Empowerment Podcast. I am your host, Blaque Diamond, and today with me, I have the pleasure of speaking with Ms. Urmi Hossain. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Do you mind telling the listeners a little bit about yourself before we jump right on in?
Yes, so my name is Urmi. I am based in Montreal. I am a corporate professional by day and a creative soul by night. So I do a lot of things beside my day-to-day job. I'm a self-published author, speaker, YouTuber, mentor, blogger. And I'm also new in the podcast world. I recently launched my first podcast, and I'm a big advocate of women's empowerment. And I am the co-chair of the organization Women in Leadership for the Montreal chapter.
Oh, wow, you do a lot.
I do.
Busy lady. How do you find time to do all of that?
You don't need to find time, you just have to create time. And I
Mm-hmm.
use a lot my Google Calendar, and I am pretty organized when it comes to like time management and prioritizing things. So I do create times for the things that I mostly value. So it's all about like putting boundaries and creating to-do list and seeing what's important from your list, basically.
So checklisting.
That's
Okay.
right.
I like that. I've actually found when I have done checklists that it does help me because I do a lot of things as well, and sometimes I could feel overwhelmed, feeling like my plate is full. But I did notice when was doing like a checklist of everything I need to do for that day, it did help me like get things done and also feel like, okay, I was actually being productive and getting things done. So I actually need to start back doing that.
Yeah, I do think that I don't know, I think for my case like list helped me a lot. Like I do have a list for the week, but
Mm-hmm.
then I also have one for the month, and I
Mm-hmm.
have one also that is like spread out for like in the next months. And I think like lists help you a lot because you can cross off whatever you have finished, and you like you're progressing and you feel like you're
Mm-hmm.
advancing, and it also shows that the little accomplishments that you're getting by taking on those small steps. So I think lists are pretty good because I think they make you accountable.
Yes, definitely. I do agree.
Mhm.
Okay, and so you said you are based out of Montreal. Is that where you're originally from?
No, I'm not originally from Montreal. I moved to Montreal many years ago, and originally I'm from Italy.
Oh, wow. Okay. Somewhere I've always wanted to visit because my name, which is my birth name, Bianca, is actually Italian. So ever since I found that out when I was a teenager, like I've always been fascinated with Italy.
Yeah, and Bianca means white. It's a nice
Yes.
name. Yeah. Mhm.
So I've always that's always been kind of a place on my bucket list I would love to visit.
It's definitely a place worth visiting.
Hmm. And what made you leave Italy to move to Montreal?
It was for personal reasons that I have moved to Montreal.
Hmm.
And like in Italy, I was born in Italy. I have lived my whole life in Italy.
Hmm.
I went to school over there really, and like my parents moved a lot while we were living in Italy. And in Montreal, I did my university, then eventually, started to work here, and I've been living here for quite some time. Like I do have
No.
also the Canadian citizenship. Yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay, dual
yeah,
citizenship. Okay.
that's right. Yeah.
All right. So tell me a little bit about your women's empowerment. What exactly do you do?
So I am part of an organization called Women in Leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And the organization is based in Canada. However, we do have like different chapters. So you have a chapter in Montreal, one in Toronto, one in Calgary. Like every single like major city in Canada has a chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And I joined initially many years ago. I joined the Victoria chapter. However, there was a position open for the Montreal chapter where we basically were trying to bring back to life the Montreal chapter, and there was a position that had to be basically filled in, which was the co-chair. And so I joined this chapter because I truly believed in their purpose, which is really to empower the women in the community. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the things that we do are in relation to like leadership program. We have a mentorship program. We have like networking events. We have webinars. We have workshop, and everything is all about empowering the women in the community and also listening to their needs and what and how they want those needs to be addressed. And so
Mm-hmm.
I very much believed in their mission and in their purpose. And I was like, this is it. I think this is what's aligned with what I do
Mm-hmm.
and what I believe. So I joined the organization.
Mm, okay. And how long have you been a member of the organization?
So the actual like the actual duration of like me being part of the organization has been I think 3 years, but
Mm-hmm.
the Montreal chapter I recently joined, like it's been probably 2 months.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
that's recent.
yeah.
So, with you being like a newbie to the organization as far as your current position, how do you feel that you're making an impact on the community?
So we have a team. So there are two co-chairs. So there's me and my other the other co-chair of the chapter, and then there are two other members. And basically, now what we are trying to do is that we want to get together and basically brainstorm ideas on how we can bring value to the women in Montreal. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, like I can see how this is going to impact in the next couple of months because basically we have a whole plan that is pretty much planned for the next couple of months of like how are we implementing let's say our first event and what kind of event do we want to offer. So basically now it's like a work in progress. So those meetings that we have to like brainstorm ideas and come up with a plan, I feel like we're already making a change because I think you giving your time, because this is a volunteer position, like you giving your time, it's already a
Mm-hmm.
way to give back to the community. And so like every time I meet with the rest of the team, I already feel so much empowered. There is a different vibe in the room. And I do
Mm-hmm.
feel like our power when it comes together, it just creates something much more powerful. And so so basically like it's just a work in progress, but I do see like in the next couple of months that we'll be able to have like that's our first in-person event and invite the women of Montreal to basically learn a little bit about us and how we can help them.
Mm-hmm. And so it's open to women all over Montreal. Do you guys also offer like a virtual version?
Yeah, so if yes, we do have a virtual version, which is not just for people in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, how it works is that different chapters do their own thing. Like everyone's mission is to really empower the women in general, but every chapter does its own thing. So we have in-person events, but we also have like workshop and webinars, which are virtual, so anyone can pretty much join and listen to the conversation. So a lot of the times, some of the topics that we had were in relation to, for instance, public speaking. Another one about how to use LinkedIn to leverage your skills. So everything is like always around those lines. And
Mm-hmm.
in the next couple of months, we're also looking to implement new projects that are more related to like wellness and well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. I love it. So you
Yeah.
also mentioned that you are an author.
Mhm.
So how many books have you written and what are they pertaining to?
I have only self-published one. I do have few ebooks, but I don't count them as books. I just count them as like ebooks because they're quite short.
Mm-hmm.
But I have written one book, which is basically called Discover Your Identity, Rebirth from Interracial Struggle. And basically, this book it's about my life in Italy from a perspective of a South Asian woman. One thing that I did not mention at the beginning is that, yes, I was born and raised in Italy. However, my parents are from Bangladesh.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the book, I'm talking about me trying to fit in and trying to navigate two different cultural worlds. And so that's what
Mm-hmm.
the book is about.
Wow, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And so for you, how was that? Like, did you move like when you were a kid? Is it from like when you were a kid, teenager?
So basically in the book I talk about it from a child and a teenage perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about some of the episodes that I have experienced when I was a kid. So, for instance, I talk about me going to school, but the school being strictly Catholic and seeing like nuns and church inside the school and seeing, the crucifix inside of school, which for me was like quite new because I was
Mm-hmm.
for the first time being exposed to a religion that was completely different to mine. So I make a comparison, for instance, from that point of view, like how I lived it outside of my home and how I lived it also inside of my home, which is strictly Muslim. And so making a comparison, for instance, from that point of view, then
Mm-hmm.
I talk about other things such as what it feels like to be the older sister and the expectations that come from being the older sister. Or I talk about, making friends who are just Italian and not having anyone that look like you, and how it was for me to always, navigate that aspect of friendship where, I always had to educate a lot of the people around me because I was completely different from them and there was no one else
Mm-hmm.
that looked like me. So I talk about it from like the teenage perspective and also from the child perspective.
I love it. I love it. And is it available like on Amazon and
Yeah,
Audible? Okay.
yeah, Amazon, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. And you're also a speaker.
Yeah.
So, do you speak on like women's empowerment or do you speak on a topic in general?
So it really depends on the needs of the organization. I spoke about different things for the past couple of years. I talked about personal branding. I participated in webinars where I spoke about it from like as part of a panel session, but I also spoke about it during a workshop. I also talked about mentorship, which is something very important to me. And I also talk about Toastmasters in many places. And
Mm-hmm.
just recently, I did a roundtable discussion for an organization where I had to be there in person, and we spoke about public speaking and how we can become better speakers. So basically, it usually depends, but the theme are always around those things like public speaking. Maybe it could be about personal branding. It could be about how to grow, how to be confident, or maybe even sharing my own career. A lot of the
Mm-hmm.
times, I also went to students' events where I had to share a little bit about how it is to work in the financial industry and the skills that you need and how you can grow the corporate ladder. So it really depends. It's
Mm-hmm.
basically all drawn from my personal experiences.
Okay. So you did mention Toastmasters. Can you explain a little bit more what exactly Toastmasters is for people who may not know what it is and if they're
Mhm.
interested in being a part of Toastmasters?
Yeah, for sure. Tell me, do you know about Toastmasters?
Yes.
You do. Okay. Okay. So Toastmasters is a nonprofit organization that was founded pretty much 100 years ago. It was founded in 1924. So we've been around for many, many years. And
Mm-hmm.
basically what happened is it was founded in California and then it expanded worldwide. And it's a place where you get to practice your public speaking skills. But what people do not know, that it's not just about public speaking, but you also get to learn about leadership. You get to learn about active listening. You get to learn about critical thinking skills. You get to learn about analytical skills. So it's a place where you get to learn about different skills. And basically, every single country, every single city has a Toastmasters club where everyone who's interested in public speaking meets once a week for, let's say, an hour or 2 hours, depending on the club structure, and you get to practice your public speaking skills. It's a peer-to-peer type of learning where you speak and you get feedback from people, usually people who are much more experienced, and you basically grow from there. But there is also a structured program within this Toastmasters Club, which is a pathway program that
Mm-hmm.
tells you like, okay, that tells you that there are several projects that you have to complete. They give you the objective, and once you finish all of that and you meet all the requirements, you also get a title for distinguished Toastmaster member. And uh, and the other thing about Toastmasters is that it gives you the opportunity to also compete on a club level, on an area level, and you also get to go like really high where you get to compete also on an international level. So it gives you a lot of exposure and it gives you
Mm-hmm.
a lot of growth.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Yeah, definitely. I'm a motivational speaker, so I haven't done as much speaking lately.
Mm,
I definitely feel like after COVID, my opportunities kind of like dwindled once everything became virtual. So like a lot of the speaking engagements I have done recently have been virtual, but I would love to start back doing more in person speaking
hmm.
engagements. I did get to practice a little bit more in person speaking. I just participated in a pageant.
Oh,
And I won the title of Miss Altruistic. So public speaking was definitely part of, us competing, and ultimately winning titles because there was 4 titles to win and there was 10
yeah,
contestants. And so that made me feel really good because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've been on an actual stage that wasn't virtual. So I
yeah.
felt good to like be in person and actually having an audience and speaking to the audience. So I really enjoyed that and I do want to get back more into doing more in-person speaking engagements.
Yeah, and you get like a boost of adrenaline every time you speak in person.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
do
very
miss
empowering.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Because a
Yeah,
lot of the speaking engagements I have been invited to, yes, they have been virtual. Like I've spoken at some support groups and some, different groups pertaining to different things. So yeah, being on that stage definitely felt empowering, like all
yeah.
over again.
Yeah, and it's very exciting. Like I know the public speaking, it's a fear that a lot of people have, but I think once you're able to conquer that fear and see that fear as an excitement, you
Mm-hmm.
do feel quite excited when it comes to speaking in front of a crowd, and you feel like every time you speak, I feel like you feel empowered, you feel much more confident, and I feel like it really helps you to show your the to show how the kind of person you are, your personal branding to the people that you're speaking with. So I think I always say like public speaking, it's a good tool that we should all have and all work on because it really opens up different opportunities.
Yes, definitely. Because I do some stuff with my job as well, where I've, presented and spoken on different subjects and topics. But it is because I do work from home, it was virtual.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yes, I do want to be more in person and actually, because I'm a people person, I like to be around people and just interacting with people from, just being in person. So yeah, I would definitely like to find more opportunities to be back in person to
Yeah.
speak and share.
Yeah, it indeed. Me too. Like I think what happened with me is that during COVID, I did a lot of things virtually, but I think it's a different kind of experience when you get to do those things in person. And like
Mm-hmm.
virtually, let's say you're giving a speech and so forth, I think you're lacking a little bit of that connection with the audience, which is very essential. And you
Mm-hmm.
don't get, you as a speaker, you don't get the same benefits of like practicing your public speaking skills virtually. But once you do it in person, like you also have that connection. You also get to speak with the audience. The audience is able to learn more about you. And I feel like they also have that chance of like speaking with you afterwards, which is
Mm-hmm.
something that you don't get through a
The
Zoom meeting,
virtual.
for instance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I thought, and what is crazy because I'm normally very shy, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's like when it comes to speaking on stage, like the shyness just goes away. Not
Yeah.
sure what
Okay.
happens, why it does, but other than that, because I don't really like being the center of attention. I'm kind of like more of a background person. But it's something just happens whenever, yeah, I'm on a stage and yeah, all of that fear, that shyness. Like I thought I was going to be scared like when I did perform during the pageant. And they were like, "Oh, if you're not scared, then you're not ready." And I'm just like, "I'm actually not scared. Like this isn't new to me. Like I'm used to this."
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I mean, it's good if you like if you're speaking and not feeling scared and you feel excited about it, I think it's a good approach to go with. I think that's great, honestly.
Yes, definitely. So, is there anything else that you are into that you would like to share? I know you said you do work like a 9 to 5. So, what exactly do you do as far as that goes?
I work in finance.
Finance.
I work in the corporate world, so
Hmm.
that's what I do, and I work in wealth management.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, is it like I know a lot of times with working in finance and being in like corporate management, it is heavily male dominated. So where you work, is that the scenario or is it kind of like more, more men and is like even mix of men and women, or is it still more of a predominantly male ratio?
I can definitely say finance in general is pretty male dominated.
Mm-hmm.
So it is predominantly male dominated in many places that I have worked in. Like it's not just where I am right now. Like every place that I've worked in, it has been male dominated. But I think there are also a lot of women who are stepping up and taking on those leadership positions. And like don't get me wrong, me too. Sometimes I think I wanted to walk away from this because I did feel like there was not enough representation and
Mm-hmm.
there was also like a lack of diversity. But I told myself that if I walk away from this, then I'm going to be part of those people who did not fight for this. So I am a fighter. I like to stay in places where I think changes need to be made. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is very male dominated, but I think that me being there, it's already an approach to making a change, basically. So I think for
Mm-hmm.
anyone who works in any male-dominated industry, I think it's always important to advocate for yourself, to find allies within the company, and to find mentors who you can ask questions to and guidance if you ever need help.
Definitely, definitely. Because yeah, and you need to find your tribe within your workplace, especially when yeah, it is a male dominated, work environment. So yeah, the women need to band together, create their own, slice of society within this, organization together so that yeah, when issues arise where there's, instances of, whether it's discrimination or just sexism or anything like that, you have your own like support group and network that you can talk to about these things and how to fix these things when they arise.
Yeah, definitely. And I always say, like, I think when it comes to finding a mentor or allies, like, always look for people that are similar to you because they went through the same struggles as you. So
Hmm.
and it's important to like find those mentors, and it doesn't necessarily need to be like within a mentorship program that maybe your company offers. It could be anyone that you like look up to, honestly, someone that you see as a role model. And I'm pretty sure people are always happy to share their experiences. So it's always important to find like good mentors and people that you can rely on no matter where you go.
Yes. What would be some advice that you would give a woman who's interested in leadership, but kind of, either they don't take advantage of opportunities or they're scared to, stand up and be like, I'm interested in this because. they feel like they're either going to be judged or they're going to be, let down. What advice would you give someone that's interested?
So I think what you have that just touched upon is the whole concept of like imposter syndrome and how we don't believe in ourselves, we
Yes.
don't feel we are good enough. But I think in those situations, I think it's always important to document every single thing that you do, every single project that you have worked on, every single, accomplishment that you have got to do, because I think you as a first person, you need to realize that you have done a lot and that you deserve to be where you are and you deserve that promotion or leadership position, whatever that is. And I always say that when it comes to leadership position or getting on a new project, that it's up to us to be our best advocate and to be
Hmm.
proactive when it comes to projects or initiatives. And it's up to us to take those initiatives, because if we don't do it, no one else will do it. And I always say that employers who have employees that are good good workers and so forth, they always like when someone is pretty proactive and is willing to work on themselves. So never like step away from any type of opportunities, even when you don't feel ready, say yes to it. Like it's you lose by not saying yes, basically. Like it's an opportunity that probably is given to you once in a lifetime, and if you say no, you will always be thinking, oh my gosh, why did I say no? What would have been the outcome if I said yes? Like you will always have that question mark. So my advice is that always say yes to opportunities when you're not ready, and then let the destiny basically choose for you or decide for you the outcome of it. Because I always say like everything is a trial and error, but you will
Hmm.
never know unless you try it. And I think by not trying, you're losing a lot. So just try it and you will not lose anything from the opportunity.
Definitely. Yeah. By not trying it, you're basically selling yourself short by not,
Yeah.
going after it. And, me, I have a thing for like acronyms. So I'm always finding ways to chase or take away like negativity from a word. And so I
Mhm.
always come up with like my own acronyms to change that negative word into a positive one. So the acronym that I came up for the word no is I always
Mhm.
say it's the next opportunity. So one person's no means next opportunity.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't always look at no as like a bad thing. Look at it as, okay, well, you may not be willing to give me a chance, but there's someone else. It's just another chance, or maybe you just weren't meant for me.
Yeah, and I think what you have just said is related to, rejections. And there is an expression that says rejections are your redirections. I think it's always
Hmm.
important to see no as a learning opportunity, and don't let yourself down because someone said no to you, because chances are there's someone else is out there who's willing to say yes to you, and that yes will change your life.
Hmm.
So I always say like all the no's that we get are supposed to bring us to where we are meant to be in life. So it's always, I always say it's a blessing of when we get a no.
Oh yes, definitely. Sometimes, yeah, I've had situations where, yeah, I've been told no about something, but then a better opportunity, came out of it from that no. And then I look back on it and be like, you know what? I am so glad they said no.
Yeah, yeah, I'm like that too. I think back in the days, I was I always used to see the no's as something negative, and I remember being quite upset about it. But I saw where all the no's have led me, and I also think that everything happens for a reason. And so I did start to see that these rejections were quite healthy actually, because they brought me to where I was supposed to be to
Hmm.
begin with. And like I say, like everything happens for a reason. Don't take the no as something negative. Take it as a way to grow, but also to learn and reinvent yourself.
Definitely, definitely. I love it. All
Okay.
right, so we have come to my favorite part of the show. It's where we call What is she thinking? I am going to give you five random phrases. You're going to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. You don't have to think too hard about it, just something fun to kind of get to know you.
Okay, sounds good.
What is she thinking? What are her thoughts? Quick, fast, no blinking. What do you got?
All right. So your first one is women's empowerment is.
Is permission to be who they want.
I like it. Next one is going to be shine bright like.
Like a diamond.
Yep, that was an easy one. All right, let's see. If I were a flower, I would be
A rose.
a rose. All right. Okay, next one. Put a cherry on
On a cake?
a cake. All right, last one. You can give me blank, but I won't accept it.
You can give me all the money that you want, but I won't accept it.
Really? You wouldn't accept it? I'll take the money.
Yeah, but it depends on like who's giving you the money and what
And what
context.
it's for, yeah, what comes
Yeah,
behind that giving.
yeah.
So yeah, I understand that. All right. So is there any like social media, websites, anything you would like listeners to be able to follow you, check out, any of what you have to offer, your books, anything like that?
Yes, so my book is available on Amazon and it's called Discovering Your Identity, Rebirth from Interracial Struggle. I also have an Instagram account called Stories Beyond Borders, which is my podcast. And my podcast is also called of the same name, Stories Beyond Borders, which is available on Apple and Spotify. And I have a YouTube channel called Urmi Hossain, and I have a LinkedIn profile called Urmi Hossain.
All right. Do you have any websites or anything like that for?
Yes, our website is Women in Leadership Foundation Canada. And if anyone is interested indeed about the work that we do, they just have to look for the Montreal chapter as soon as they go to the website. There are all the website has the list of all the different chapters, and they can just like click on the Montreal chapter.
Okay. Sounds good. And then would they be able to also click on like the other chapters, like if they live?
Yeah,
Okay.
for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to follow the podcast on all major podcasting platforms. Also, follow us on social media. We are BFF Empowerment Podcast on Threads, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. You can visit our website at bffempowermentpodcast.com. Check out all the latest episodes. You can also send us an interest email if you're interested in being spotlighted on the Women on the Rise segment of the BFF Empowerment Podcast. Send that email to bffempowerment@gmail.com. And until next time, guys, thank you so much for listening.
BFF, we rise above. Stronger together, we shine with love. Faith unshaken, hearts on fire. Fear the soul.